Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I have a review and durability test on Meguiar's Hybrid Ceramic Wax. I'm going to be applying it in two different ways and showing you how the durability differs based on the application you choose. If you go on to enjoy the video, don't forget to hit like and also subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. And without further ado, let's get right into it. So talking a little bit about the product, it costs about 480 Rand here in South Africa, and if you're buying it on Amazon, it's about $25. You get 768 milliliters, which is quite a bit for the money, so it's reasonable value when you also consider the durability you're getting. So on the bottle, they give you two ways of applying it, one being the base application and the other the top-up application. If you're doing this for the first time, of course, you'd use the base application, which is done by spraying the product onto a wet panel and then wiping it in and simultaneously drying the car. Once you have your base application, you can choose to do a top-up application. This is done in a spray and rinse method. So while your car is still wet, you apply 1 or 2 squirts per panel and then rinse it off. This immediately rejuvenates the protection and gives you back that hydrophobic properties. The method I choose to use is similar to the base application, however, you apply it dry. This is more similar to a traditional wax or sealant. In this video, I'm going to be comparing my dry application method with their base application method. So both are very similar, except one you apply the product on dry and the other one you apply on wet. Now I'm going to walk you through a quick prep and then show you all how to apply it in these two different ways and then onto the durability test. First, I'm going to walk you through a quick prep of what you would do to a car. You'd start up with a pre-wash, then onto a 2-bucket method contact wash. The car you're seeing has already had a decontamination, correction, and protection applied to it. So the only thing I'm trying to do in the video is remove the previous wax protection that is on the car. In the video, I use Meguiar's Wash Plus to remove the wax. As you can see, the water is not beading and it's sheeting very slowly off the paint, which means there is no protection on it. If you're doing this for the first time, now is the stage where you do your chemical decontamination, such as an iron fallout remover or tar remover. After that, you would do your mechanical decontamination, such as claying the car. This is only done if it is required, so if you don't need your car to be clayed, you don't have to. Next, you would do paint correction if it's required. Remember, before using this product, it's actually very thick, so you need to shake it quite well. A lot of people use this product and do not get very good results because they haven't shook it. Also remember, a lot goes a long way. Another problem that comes with this product is streaking that generally happens when someone has used too much of product. I'm using some painter's tape to mask off the middle section so that we have a control. So while the panel is still wet, you do 1 or 2 squirts and wipe it in and simultaneously dry the panel. On the left side is the method I use, which is a dry application. First, I'm going to dry the entire panel and then apply the product. This is a more traditional way of applying a protection. So as you can see, I spray 1 or 2 squirts onto a microfiber applicator pad and work it in a crosshatch pattern. I then immediately take a dry, clean microfiber towel and buff it off. The product comes off relatively easy, and if you're very thorough with the wipe off, it won't streak on you. As you can see, both sides have a huge improvement. They are both sheeting and beading water incredibly. This product has great hydrophobic properties regardless of which method you choose to apply it. Here's a close-up of the water beading on both sides. Both sides are doing a terrific job at beading water. The dry side, which is the left, seems to have a bit more beads, but both are fine. Now onto the durability test. First, I'm just using Car Pro Reset, which is a normal wash shampoo. As you'd expect, this didn't do anything to the coatings, they're both holding up fine. Now onto the real test. I'm going to be applying Shield All-Purpose Cleaner diluted 1-in-1, so that's 50% cleaner and 50% water. I'm spraying about 10 squirts on each side and then wiping it in with a microfiber towel. I'm then washing it with Car Pro Reset to remove any residue, and then I'm going to rinse it off. As you can see, both sides have hardly any change. They're both beading and sheeting water quite rapidly. So once again, I'm going to hit it with the all-purpose cleaner, 10 squirts on each side, and then wipe it in and then wash it off with Car Pro Reset. I'm going to do this a total of 3 times just to see how the coatings hold up. So both sides definitely still have protection on them, but the right side, which was done wet, seems to have taken a little bit of a harder hit than the left side. The water seems to be sheeting a little bit more than it was beading. The left side, however, still seems to be holding up quite well. And for the last time, I'm going to be doing one more hit of all-purpose cleaner, spraying it on, rubbing it in, and then washing with Car Pro Reset. As you can see, after this much all-purpose cleaner, both sides are still holding up. However, the right side, which was done wet, is starting to deteriorate a little bit faster than the left side. Next, we're bumping up the chemical to something a little bit stronger. I'm using a generic degreaser. It's not diluted, so applying it to the surface neat. I'm applying 4 squirts, rubbing it in with a microfiber towel, and then washing it off with Car Pro Reset to remove any residue. I then rinsed it off, and we can see the results. This definitely made the coating deteriorate on both sides quite a bit. Also keep in mind that this is not a normal test and you would never subject your coating to such harsh chemicals like all-purpose cleaners or degreasers. And finally, one more hit with degreaser. I'm going to be doing 5 squirts on each side, rubbing it in, letting it sit for a while, and then washing it off with Car Pro Reset, and then finally rinsing it off. As you can see, both sides definitely took quite a hard hit compared to when they started, but it's clear that the right side, which was applied wet, is definitely more deteriorated than the left side, which was applied dry. It's quite conclusive that applying it dry definitely did increase the durability of this product. I tried to get some water beading, but both sides are not doing that well. On the right side, there definitely isn't any water beading left. On the left side, there is a little, but nothing significant. And finally, I'm just going to demonstrate the spray on and rinse off method. You simply spray 1 or 2 squirts onto a panel and then rinse it off. Ideally, you'd want a pressure washer, but for this test, I was just using a garden hose and it worked relatively well. It's quite hard to see on camera, but the center, which didn't have a base layer of application applied to it, didn't bead water quite as well. So the most important thing is to apply some form of base application, whether you want to do it wet or dry. Of course, you wouldn't want to let your protection get this low before reapplying the product, but it's nice to see that it's still bonded quite well. Of course, it's quite conclusive from this video that applying it dry does give you more durability. So let's talk about the dry application that I choose to use. I'll go through some of the pros and cons. Starting off with the cons, there really are only two. One being time. Of course, it's going to take a bit longer to apply the product this method. And then two, it streaks a bit more than the other methods. So this product is very thick, and if you apply too much product, it can tend to streak when you're buffing it off. This is not such a big problem. You can always go back, and if you're very thorough with your buffing off, you're not going to get any streaking. And if you do see some streaks, you can reapply product if it's too hard to buff off, and then just wipe it off again. But don't let this scare you. It's not like a high spot with a ceramic coating where you'd have to go and polish the panel and then reapply the product. No, don't let that scare you and put it off from using the dry application method. So the pros behind using it the dry application method, I think these outweigh any of the negatives. The first being durability. The product is going to last longer compared to the other application. And secondly, you're going to use less product. The third is not really a pro, but it's sort of an advantage. This is like a base layer of application. So I'm assuming you just did, a paint correction and your car is already inside the garage and it's dry. So it just makes sense to apply the product dry rather than taking it outside and wetting it again and then applying the product. It just saves you an extra step. So as long as you apply the product correctly, meaning you shake the bottle well, you don't use too much product to minimize streaking, and you apply some form of base protection, whether that be wet, how they suggested, or dry, the method I showed you all. Either way is going to give you all great protection and it's going to look really good on your paint. So the product is very shiny and it does a great job at hiding swirls and scratches. So if your paint is not completely corrected, this does a great job at making it look a lot better. So me personally, from the three application methods, which are the wet, dry, and spray and rinse method, I would only use the wet or dry method. The spray and rinse method doesn't really make sense to me because are you really saving that much time? I don't think so, because let's say your car is wet and you spray it on and then rinse it off, you still have to dry your car. So why not use the spray and wipe method, because you'll be using it like a rinse aid and you're drying your car simultaneously while adding protection. Plus you're going to get much more durability applying it dry or when the panel is wet and then wiping it off. I don't see the point of applying it with the spray and rinse off method, although it's great to have that option to do so, and as you saw in the video, it does work. Also, one more tip I could give: if you want to apply the product the wet method, don't have too much water on the paint, meaning after you wash the car, maybe flood the paint a little so most of the water runs off, then spray it on and wipe it off. You just seem to get a little bit more durability when the paint is a bit more dry. So guys, to conclude, I think that this is a fantastic product for any beginner or professional. Yes, you're not going to get the level of durability of a ceramic coating or the chemical resistance, but the way it looks and also the hydrophobic properties are quite close to that. And that's quite high praise from something that's so reasonably priced and you get such a large quantity. Definitely something I would recommend. So guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, hit like and also subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to turn on notifications so you don't miss any of my future videos. Also feel free to leave a comment down below. Once again guys, thanks for watching and I'll see you on the next one.